So, did you ever wonder what can't you finish life without accomplishing or experiencing? I know it's a simple question, but it has me directing my life for some time now. And staying with the tension this question brings is also making my life much more meaningful. So, in the past few days, I was remembering the time when I was about to hit 30. And for a lot of people, it's a moment that brings a lot of tension because you realize that you're kind of getting old. You gotta get your shit together. And it's interesting that that moment was the first time in my entire life I ever felt satisfied with my life and truly at peace. And sure, I had experienced joy many times before, but it was never something that deeply touched my core. It was different. And I'm not saying that I never felt sad or anxious, since that moment. But as I said, it was something different. Because at that moment, I knew I was doing something worthy with my life. So I had just gotten married and moved to Buenos Aires, Argentina. My business was finally working, and I was also working on the first draft of my book Pistes, Demystifying Human Psychology. And now I recently turned 32, 3 months ago. 3 months ago. And I know that I experienced this shift because I allowed myself to become obsessed with my objectives and I unlocked a level of intensity I didn't think existed inside of me. Basically, I stopped whining about things not working out for me. I got humbled. And I remember that devising a plan to face one fear at a time. I already mentioned this plenty of times, but I was immature for too long, and I know the problem of the Puer and the Puer Aeternus, or the man-child, inside out because I lived this shit. And now that I am on the other side, I know life's much more rewarding when you take radical responsibility. It's funny, but when you are enmeshed with this Puer mentality, you think that the meaning of life is just, feeling good and seeking cheap pleasures. You don't want to get involved with anything serious that disturbs your comfort zone. And you only think about yourself. Yes, it's very narcissistic. But well, this childishness comes with this unbearable tension and this inner turmoil, resentment, toxic relationships, and also nihilism. It's like your soul is dead and you don't even realize it. But when I was in this deep pain, in this moment of despair, I remember this question popping into my mind. Same question at the beginning. What can't I finish life without accomplishing or experiencing? I remember thinking that life couldn't be just that. And that's why this question is key. Because when you are immature, you live in the realm of endless potential. You wonder about all of the things you want in life, all the options and the different paths, and you never commit to anything. You think you have all the time in the world, and if you start tomorrow, you will be perfect and amazing in no time. In fact, you will get so good that people will want to study you. The problem is that you never start and tomorrow never comes. The truth is that you are afraid of life and you're afraid to realize that you have to work hard just like everybody else. But the only way to mature is by making a choice, because overcoming our childishness involves realizing our mortality and that we have finite energy. And that's why it's so important to know our values. And when we let go of these immature desires, we can finally take part in the real world and, start feeling alive again. So the truth is that being an adult is much more enjoyable because we get to create a life with intent and meaning. We're not subject to parental scripts anymore. We don't feel that pull to cater to their needs and follow the path they want for us. We stop caring so much about what other people think, and we also stop being subject to childish moods and that fleeting motivation because our values start driving our actions. And that feeling of being lost also completely vanishes because the truth is that you are only lost when you are afraid of taking responsibility for your own life. You don't want to choose. You don't want to get involved with anything. You don't want to commit to things. And that's why I feel so lost. And that's why I repeat, What can't you finish life without accomplishing or experiencing? Again, I know it's a simple question, but to answer it truly, you have to face your fears. And most people dismiss it because uncovering this truth means that you have to do something about it. And again, a lot of people feel lost because they resist this responsibility. Why you feel lost and you don't know what you want to do with your life? You can always blame other people. And also, this truth involves confronting the wasted time and it brings grief. But the best way to make up for the wasted time is to make a pact with yourself and become obsessed in the present moment. You owe this to yourself. We reclaim our lives by giving energy to our ideas, to our projects, and building real relationships. We grow by expressing our creativity and developing our talents to the fullest extent. Because if we don't go all in, the unlived life will haunt us. So that's a very interesting idea by Carl Jung and refers to important talents, dreams, and creative potential that remain undeveloped in our shadows. The problem is that when something that should be consciously expressed remains unconscious, it kind of rots inside and produces restlessness, loneliness, and life just feels kind of meh. It's you just don't feel alive anymore. But it doesn't matter what you do, this thing will not leave you alone. So this thing is constantly running in the background. And it's interesting, but it seems that certain things are either part of our life tasks or simply essential for our souls. And I make this distinction because in the first scenario, I'm referring to something that we must give to the world. It's connected to our work. While in the second, it's something that doesn't necessarily have to be shared, but it brings a deep sense of joy and inspiration. And to me, writing a book was part of my life task. I felt a sense of duty, and despite being scared and think that I couldn't ever do it, I knew I just had to rise to the challenge. Just sit down and do this thing. So I redesigned my entire life so I could write as often as possible. And a couple of months ago, I finally launched the physical book. And by the way, I'm experimenting with something new. So if you join my newsletter down below, I will send you a PDF of my book, in which I cover the entirety of Carl Jung's work. Dreams, active imagination, the animus inanima, the individuation journey, how to practice shadow work according to Carl Jung, the whole thing. Join my newsletter and I'll send you a copy. And if you like the book, you can get it from Amazon later, either for Kindle or paperback. At the moment I'm recording this video, I launched the book 5 weeks ago, and almost 60 people already ordered the book, so I couldn't be happier. But now that the book's done, the need to be immersed in music has become imperative again. We all have that thing we wish we could do more, but life just gets in the way. But deep down we know that until we attend to this calling, we won't feel complete, we won't feel truly happy. So playing more music and composing more songs is my next quest. And again, I'm not doing this to impress anyone. This is just me allowing my soul to be expressed. It's my moment to be creative. And that's how you follow the self. That's how you truly integrate the shadow with practical actions and changes in the real world. Because integration is a process and it requires time and full immersion. I'm embodying my inner work and my shadow when I sit down and write, or when I just pick up my guitar and play a few songs and try to compose something new. Because the individuation journey isn't abstract, and integration is about giving life and energy to what was repressed or following new creative potentials, every single day. And getting attuned with where our soul is trying to lead us is a very important aspect of the individuation journey, because the unconscious isn't about just repressed stuff. No, the unconscious is the matrix of our creative potential. It contains everything we are yet to become. It contains our true personality, all the things we are meant to become. So by following, these creative impulses, by listening to the self, by listening to our souls and shaping our life accordingly, we're kind of participating in this plan. Let's say we're making it conscious. When we are in this process, we're also, in the process of becoming who we truly are and uncovering new talents, uncovering new possibilities, and I don't know, having fun in this process. And that's what Carl Jung calls the teleological aspect of the psyche. This goal to be accomplished that we are not completely aware of, but is part of this creative matrix, and we must make it conscious. So, to end this, what has been haunting you? Or what can't you finish life without accomplishing or experiencing? So, I give you a guide to your next steps. And finally, you can find a step by step to practice shadow work according to Carl Jung's original ideas in the next video over here.